With the uncertainty in the marketplace, and if you're not focusing your efforts towards sellers, you may be in trouble in the months and years to follow. I'm going to walk you through the clearest explanation on how to get motivated sellers today, as well as 3 important things that every other lead generation tutorial are not showing you. Number 1, how to build a strong foundation to a successful lead generating method that's being used by all the large teams with no exception. Number 2, how to position yourself as a leader and neighborhood specialist that allows you to demand higher commission. And number 3, how to actually build a sustainable and scalable business that will provide you with seller leads year after year. Because what we see so many times with every other tutorial is getting into passive prospecting methods that they fail over and over again. While this method, it's a proactive method that ensures you full control on the outcome. So let's dive in. Farming as a method of generating business. Okay. So farming through marketing versus farming through community service versus farming through, where can I put this? Cold calling. Farming through any methods, you need to get in front of people. If you're a secret agent, nobody knows about you. The expectation of you getting listings, it's absurd. You're not going to get any attention if you're not in front of people. It takes about 14 times for prospects to even acknowledge that you are around in that neighborhood. So if you're starting for 1 month and you're doing the activities or sending flyers and you stop, nobody even knew that you existed. And there's different methods, and the most common that you've seen, and Jeremy, you just mentioned, is farming through marketing. You see a lot of flyers. You probably see tons of flyers in your mailboxes, flyers to billboards, bus stops, billboards, benches, garbage bin billboards, but also through social media, paying ads through location in your farming area, and through social media, advertising local businesses. That's through marketing, and it's the most common that agents are jumping on when thinking of farming. Farming through community service, local events, supporting local businesses, and volunteering a lot within your neighborhood. And farming through prospecting, cold calling, and door knocking. The first 2 of them, the farming through marketing and farming through community service, are considered passive methods, which involves no rejection. This is how you determine what's passive and what's proactive. When you're actually encounter a lot of rejection, then you know you're doing something proactive. The first one specifically has a very slow result. And then the third one is called proactive, involves tons of rejections, but there's much faster results. And but it's the one that most agents go to last. The ideal scenario is to combine all 3 of them to get the most return and the fastest result. But if you were to pick only one of them, it would definitely be prospecting. Unfortunately, it's the most uncomfortable. But if you're going towards the marketing one, which again is the one that most agents will consider going to, you're looking at about $300,000 to even $400,000 in expense per year to really make a difference. The amount of flyers and billboards and touches that people should have and see about you through marketing, where it does not actually create that human interaction and having the chance to talk with people and ask them if they need something now to find the must seller. It takes a lot of money to be able to get the same amount of listings only through marketing. So if you don't have that budget, sending 1 flyer at a time or every 6 months, or it's just not going to work. Picking up your farming area. This is something that I came up and also, talking with a lot of farming agents, that they have really good results through farming. And it really, the first step may apply to you or not. In Canada, we're very mixed ethnicities, especially depending on areas that you live in. In the United States, some areas may not be the case, but in any case, if that's where you live and there's a mix of ethnicities, I highly recommend as a first step to check that. If you're, unless you're part of that ethnicity and it's a majority, ethnicity in an area that you want to tap in, that's fine. But if you're not, that becomes a problem. Becomes a problem of difference of culture. Becomes a problem of language barrier also. So that would be my first step. My second step is various price points. A lot of agents would like to pick higher price points. And I always say these are the ones most affected during hard times in difficult markets. The turnover, it's the lowest in high price points. So ideally will be to select various price points and the lower ones not to be neglected when markets are good, because these are the ones that are going to feed you when markets are slow. It also a variety of home types. So you can actually have people that upsize and downsize. And in this way, you get a lot of business by being able to combine all of these aspects. So that would be my second step in picking a farming area. I prefer, you can start smaller, but I prefer a minimum of 5,000 households. First, because it's enough activity to feed you and your competition. You're not going to be alone picking a farming area, and there's no agents actually farming there. So you need quite a larger number to be able to have quite a number of listings every year that you can share with the other agents. But also, I find it that it's the sweet spot to have enough time to come back every 3 months to prospect these homes. So if it's less, then you're going to touch base too much. If it's more, then you're going to not come back often enough. You have to look at a minimum of 3.5% turnover. If you find yourself in a market that we are right now, where the turnover and the listing inventory is so low, you may overlook property areas that usually have even a higher turnover. So I would say a lot of cautious by picking a farming area right now because of that. If needed, do some research of, I would say, 2 years back in order to really see what the true turnover is going to be. And then you have other agents. I don't really believe in competition or strong agents. I think there's enough for everyone to take your piece of the pie. However, there's a couple of things that I would consider. If you're going to find yourself in anywhere between 2 to 5 active agents within a farm area of 5,000 homes. And then you're going to have the ones that specialize a lot into the higher price points, the ones that they go for the lower price points, and the ones that they go for everything. What I urge you to consider is if these agents are individual agents or if they have teams. If 2 or 3 out of the 5, let's say, they have teams, you're actually not competing against only 5 agents. You're competing against all their agents. So you may want to kind of, see how many homes they're selling in a year in total in that neighborhood versus how many agents you're going to compete with. So you're going to have to look at this. There are still pockets, and we actually started a new farming area because there's pockets where there's really elderly agents, very active still, sending flyers all the time, but they're slowing down and they're in their late 70s and 80s because they haven't heard about Real, I guess, and they're still working in their 70s and 80s. They don't have any passive income, but they're slowing down, and there's really enough space for fresh blood there, people that they're active, that they have, you know, fresh marketing. They go out there and they are active in the community, and they go door knocking. So when you see that, even if there's like 3-4 very veteran agents, just go in there because there is space for that. Systems you need to start a farming. A phone, that's the most important one. It's the easiest. Everybody has one. I never prefer the Mojo system where you put all the numbers in there and you start calling people. It just didn't work out for me. It becomes very mechanical. When you farm, besides the fact that you're looking for people that want to do business right now, it's about building the relationship within the community. And when you call, and you call every 3 months, you call the same people. And then these people are going to refer you, even if they don't do business. But you do have, they're not leads, but you have an indication of who they are, the kids, the dogs, and so on. So I like to make notes. So my conversation with someone who I spoke and I know about their kids is not going to be the same with someone that I speak for the first time. So Mojo didn't really allow me to know who's going to come next, because it actually jumps the people that don't answer. And you're all of a sudden, am I talking with someone that I spoke with before, or am I talking with the new one? So I don't know how to talk. So you want to be very aware of who you're talking with. So for me, it didn't work out. But I know people that like that. I didn't like that. I want to have a very personal conversation with people in the community. But what I did, and everybody has 2-3 phones, especially iPhones, old iPhones that don't work anymore. And in Canada, I don't know in the United States, but you can call Bell or Rogers or anyone and you say, I want a line, just a line. I don't want a phone with all the whistles and bells, just a line. It's an extra $15 per line, which will give you the possibility to actually have 3 phone numbers. I don't have any more 3. I have only 2, which is my phone. And then I have my personal, my blue one. I don't know where it is. I still have that. What happens, it allows you, while you're ringing someone, to already dial the next one. So you're shortening the time in between calls to waste that time of dialing. So that, to me, I found it that allows me to really get to a high number of contacts per day. And in the same time to be thoughtful of what I'm talking and not be mechanical. So that's my choice. You need a system that provides you with phone numbers. We have telelisting in Canada. I don't know, in the United States, they are even more advanced on that. It's $333. I have it since literally 2012. And I'm probably going to always have it. It acts almost like a CRM because you can make notes in there. But these are the places where I put notes about people that they're not interested in doing anything, but they're, you know, you need to know about them because they're for the next conversation. Now, a lot of agents are going to say, oh, there's a lot of numbers that they don't work and so on. Yes, they don't. That's fine. And most people are going to slowly not have landlines. I would say out of the 5,000 homes, you're looking at 3,000 phone numbers in there. It's more than enough. And as you go through cold calling, door knocking, and events and volunteering, you're going to collect phone numbers that you're going to add them into your telelisting, even if they don't have a landline. And that should be your goal. Yes, there's people that there's a lot of do not call lists. It's up to you if you want to call them or not. Figure out what's the penalty if you do, and if they report you. Nobody reported me in 15 years or whatever it is, 11 years. Nobody ever reported me. When you start, you're going to have what I call these periods of triage, where you have to call, and a lot of these numbers are not working. So be patient. You know you're not going to call, and the next time you need to call, you're not going to call that. That time is saved the second time. You're also going to have the ones that they're going to swear at you or say, don't ever call me, I'm going to report you. Then you know you're not going to call them. So the first time you call your area, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. It's going to take a little bit more time, but it's worth it. And then you clean up your telelisting and you're good to go for the second round. You need to have a good CRM to introduce your contacts, your leads, follow up, and also your emails. The second you contact anyone, all the time, you should ask them for your email addresses. You put it in there, it becomes your free advertisement for, you send it once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever you decide, your information about the neighborhood, information about the market, whatever it is, it becomes your free marketing, and you should definitely try to get anyone's email if you talk with them. You need internet. It's as simple as that. If you have internet, you can make these phone calls from anywhere. That's the beauty of it. You actually prospect. You can be up north doing whatever you want. And that's my cat. As long as you have internet, I guess he agrees or disagrees. As long as you have internet, you're going to be good to go. Good shoes, good pair of shoes. You're supposed to go and door knock if you really want to see results. It's unbelievable what face-to-face does to a connection with someone, to build rapport and trust, especially that these people, they don't really know you. And you have to have good marketing materials to hand out. If you go and door knock, or you go to an event, or you sponsor someone, make sure that you have really good marketing that sticks and stays with them. I see a lot of people doing things that they're temporary, that people actually will throw out after they meet you. So you need something that it's smart, something that you know they're going to keep. And it's not temporary, it's not a calendar, because that after the year passes, that's going to go in the garbage. It has to be something that you know they're going to keep for a long time. What else you need to succeed at farming? The number one and most important is to have a very strong mindset. Learn to deal with rejection is so important. You're not talking with your friends in your sphere of influence. These are people that most of them don't need your business yet. You have to be patient. It takes about 3 years to see consistent business without you no longer actually putting in the effort of picking up the phone or door knocking. It's a lot of boredom repetition, which means you're going to do the same activities every day, and the conversations are the same, everything is the same. You have to learn to follow up aggressively. You're competing against farming agents, and I have to tell you, they're salespeople. They're not realtors. They're salespeople. These are people that are learned to deal with rejection, and they never take no for an answer. So if you're the kind of person that backs out at the first no, or you're intimidated, or it takes you a week to be, leaking your wounds because you've been rejected, or you didn't take a listing because you're in competition with someone else, don't even start farming. Learn to recognize and deal with different personality styles is so important, because you're not on your social media platforms or your friends where you're attracting people like yourself. You're prospecting, which means you're dealing with 75% of people that they're not your personality style. They're not yours. So you have to learn how to connect and build rapport fast with someone who is not your personality type. You need to preview all properties, everything that comes on the market, regardless of it's not your price point or whatever, you're not interested. You preview every single property that comes on the market. It's the only way that you're going to know how to price properties when you're going to get a listing. It's the only way that you're going to know the market and the buyer's behavior, and that will give you an enormous amount of strength to price and get good performance for your own listings. As you can see, the next one is the only one really bolded all together. It's to learn your scripts and objections. It's so crucial to learn what to say. Otherwise, you're going to practice on these prospects and your leads. It's going to take you a long time. You're going to see slow results, and it's going to be a complete headache. Talk less and ask a lot of questions. And I highly recommend that your personal beliefs, either religious, politically, or anything else, keep it for yourself. You'll be surprised how anything you're saying to one neighbor can literally spread among the entire neighborhood. So I highly recommend learn to be interested, sincerely interested about your prospects and their needs rather than talking about yourself. Take care of your reputations at all time. There's so many times when you're tempted or you have certain situations where you don't know what to do. I'm telling you right now, always do the right thing. Always, because you're going to have to literally switch your farming area that you built in such a long time, and if you ruin your reputation. You're always going to be in competition with someone else and during the listing presentation. So find ways to stand out without ever trashing your competition, ever. There's many ways to do that. If you pay attention of their performances, they make mistakes, especially because they compromise, they do shortcuts. So it's a very easy way to collect all of this information, to have it for yourself, to present it to your prospects at the time of the listing presentation, which are facts. It's not your impression. You're not trashing anyone. You're showing actually the difference in performance, and that wins you and actually opens the door. If you're a new agent in that neighborhood and you want to break in and they're really established agents, a lot of them are very arrogant and they make a lot of mistakes. They're actually perfect way to grab for yourself to be able to break in the neighborhood. And by the way, just be aware of this. It's very rarely that the lowest commission wins. So don't use that as your asset. Building trust is the most important. That will bring you the fastest results. Develop a very strong pre-qualification and listing presentation. Again, you're not going to, it's probably 1% at a time you're not in competition with someone else. So if you're not developing a strong listing presentation, you're going to fail a lot. I highly recommend to have a very good relationship with your competitors, because you're going to preview all of their listings, but you're also going to buy from them and they're going to buy from you. A lot of the time we share these these buyers that they're coming to listings. So you better have a good relationship with your competitors. And the last one is to find accountability and role play partners. It's super important. But you're in this group, so accountability partners, I'm sure you can find out easy. What are your daily activities when you farm? Practicing your scripts and dialogues is the beginning of the day. It's so important whenever you want in the beginning of the day. Door knocking, call calling, if you want to go that route, I highly recommend it. You want to see results in your first year, then go door knocking, call calling. The others, it's going to take you such a long time. Probably a very determined farming agent, even if they're new, if they come and door knock and call, they're going to take all your business. My recommendation in terms of call calling and door knocking is to have these schedule. This is my ideal schedule: 3 times a week in the morning, 2 times a week in the evening, and 1 Saturday per month. We used to do these 100 contact contests on Saturday. They are phenomenal. Also prospecting school, where you have 4 days of intense prospecting and setting up appointments. They're absolutely phenomenal. They work so well. Saturdays are amazing. You find so many people at home. Contacts. When I started, the way I was able to take 14 listings is because I've never for exactly 1 year straight didn't have in my list 50 contacts a day. It's extremely demanding. It's hard, but it does the job. You break in the neighborhood right away in the first year. You take a lot of listings. You're basically almost like a shop to the neighborhood. 50 contacts a day. You want to do the classic, then go for 20 per day. I call it like the pregnant system, where you're like, oh, I'm 20 contacts and then I'm going to do some follow-up and then that's it, I'm done for the day. But it's up to you. If you really want to make a lot of money, 50 contacts is what I recommend. You do follow-up. Every single contact you made and all the efforts of sending out the flyers, doing all the other, community service and all of that, if you're not doing follow-up, you should not start doing actually anything in this business. Follow-up is mandatory, and that's where the money and the fortune is. I've never had a situation where I called someone, they said they want to list their property, go there that day, list the property and sell it. It's just not realistic. So follow-up is essential. Pre-qualification calls, I do not go on any listing presentation without pre-qualification, is actually the first step to a good listing presentation, and of course, listing presentation. When to hire an ISA. If you want to maintain or expand your area, hiring an ISA is the best thing that you can do for yourself. I don't recommend doing that before the 3-year mark. You want to establish yourself and your reputation in that neighborhood and your style and the way you do things. And you definitely don't want to bring someone else in without having all of that reputation and all that branding to the T for yourself. So that's my recommendation after 3 years. Right now, you can find someone at $50K per year. The good part is that you are spending 3 hours prospecting. An ISA will spend 8 hours prospecting and calls and follow-ups and sets appointments for you. So it's a great investment to have an ISA, but you have to spend at least first 6 months personally in person with them to train them in order to maintain the same level of service, the same level of knowledge, and the same vibe that you created in that neighborhood. Advantages of farming. It's really a lifelong incoming business. Once you are willing to put that 3-year work in it, it's really something that you can count on for the rest of your life, literally for the rest of your life. You can then also leverage that by selling at retirement time, selling your farming area and your contacts by introducing another agent. There's so many advantages. And obviously the fact that you're a listing agent, which is, we don't have that many ways of working with sellers. So I find it a huge advantage. Disadvantage of farming, if you're in years like this year, for example, when the inventory is very low, and if this is the only way of generating business for yourself, you're going to find yourself a little bit in trouble because there's such a short inventory. But other than that, it's all good. When you should not consider starting a farming area. When you're sensitive upon rejection, lied, screamed, you're going to be rejected every single day. You're going to be lied. People are going to take advantage of what you're saying, your information. You're going to be screamed at, slapped doors and phone calls. If you're sensitive, just don't do it if you don't have a tough skin. If you have a hard time asking strangers for business because you basically have to ask for business every single day, if you expect immediate results, it's not going to happen. And if you're not comfortable working alone, it's a lot of boredom repetition of working alone. That being said, more than 400 million in sales volume in 11 years that I generated through farming. So I'm a huge advocate of farming, and I definitely recommend that